This early morning, let's explore the 17th verse of the Song of Enlightenment and then meditate. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. This is the Lama you are looking for. This morning, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as General Leia Organa on Ajahn class under the guidance of Luke Skywalker, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. The moment you have a question about Buddhist or Taoist meditation or philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is I need to add some chanting marks to make it easier. So this will just take a minute. Halfway done. All right, now, whoopsie, let's get down to it. Nothing to it but to do it. Oh, that's the cliche. And you're gone. Okay. So let's begin with an opening chant. Know the words and know their source. Do not over-focus on the emptiness of samadhi, wisdom's light. This is not something I alone have learned. Countless Buddhas have realized this too. Okay, so we're going to start by looking at the notes left by the translator. And it took me years to learn this, but not every... Translators are typically better linguists than they are yogis. So I tend to take their notes as highly literalist. So the first note is for the word source. The term tsung, which I've translated source, also refers to a lineage or school of thought as well as to its founder. We come now to light or wisdom light right down here. This text has Ting Hui, meditation wisdom, a term used by, I have trouble pronouncing this word, Hui Neg of the in the Platform Sutra 4 or 13 to stress their inseparable nature. The Tian Tai school, of which Yong Xie was also a student, preferred the Qi Huan, cessation observation, which they viewed as sequential. I've opted to use the Sanskrit samadhi for meditation here simply because I like the sound. I don't think there are any notes over here, so now that we've lost the momentum, let's recapture it by chanting it a second time. Know the words and know their source. Do not over-focus on the emptiness of samadhi wisdom's light. This is not something I alone have learned. Countless Buddhists have learned this too. May we refrain from rigidly grasping at any and every teaching in blindly superstitious faith, and also refrain from ignoring the two truths by shoving mindfulness away and grasping desperately at emptiness. This seems like it could use some more, so let's add something here. Okay, that should be better, but now I got to adjust this to make it fit on the screen. Oh, it's not going to fit. That's what she said. So let's put this over here. Okay, now let's give this a try. So in addition to may we refrain from rigidly grasping at any and every teaching in blindly superstitious faith, and also refrain from ignoring the two truths by shoving mindfulness away and grasping desperately at emptiness. For the test of a teaching are the results it generates when you apply it consistently, and according to the Eightfold Path, the 7 Enlightenment factors, and even contemporary neuroscience. Both the sympathetic nervous system and its mindfulness, as well as the parasympathetic nervous system and its relaxation and release, are necessary for health and happiness. So, quick like a bunny, we're going to add 7 over here. We're going to add 1. So, back to the table of contents. Going to add 1, make that 71. Can add another one, make that 73, 74. Add 1, make that 77. And add 1, make that 81. Well, it was terribly exciting. I would very much like to chant and meditate with you now, but first let us pause for 1 minute of housekeeping. In the Tibetan tradition, neither nuns nor monks nor yogis nor even lamas are supported by monasteries. Au contraire, they got to pay rent, and if they can't, they become homeless in the land of the snows. So it comes as little surprise that in Tibet the tradition developed for enthusiastic lay students to support their teachers however they can. If you wish to support me on Patreon for as little as the cost of 1 cup of coffee a month, then I suggest you either use your smartphone's camera to capture this QR code, or simply scroll down to the description area below the video and click the link. Okay, what am I looking for? Let us train in empathy and enthusiasm simply by chanting the recitations of bodhicitta and refuge. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, grieving, and clinging, by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, grieving, and clinging, by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Probably the easiest way to train in the wisdom of letting go is to chant the Heart of Wisdom Sutra. While practicing the deep practice of Prajnaparamita, looked upon the 5 skandhas and seen the rarity of self-existence. Said here Shariputra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness. Whatever is form is emptiness, whatever is emptiness is form. The same holds for sensation and perception, memory and consciousness. Here Shariputra, dharmas are defined by emptiness, not by birth or destruction, purity or defilement, completeness or deficiency. Therefore Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, no perception, no memory, and no consciousness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, and no mind. No shape, no sound, no smell, no taste, no feeling, and no thought. No element of perception surmise to conceptual consciousness. No causal link from consciousness to old age and death. No end of causal link from consciousness to old age and death. No suffering, no source, no relief, no path. No knowledge, no attainment, and no non-attainment. The Shari Buddha without attainment. Bodhisattvas take refuge in Prashaparamita and live without the wall of the mind. Without walls of the mind and thus without fears. They see through delusions and finally accomplish nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, also take refuge in Prajnaparamita and realize unexcelled perfect enlightenment. You should therefore know the great mantra Prajnaparamita, the mantra of great magic, the unexcelled mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, which heals all suffering and should not false. Oh, yawn. Oh, excuse me. The mantra in Prajnaparamita is spoken thus. Gate gate bara sam gate bodhi swaha. Now, at last, let's meditate. Let's demystify Soto Zen's or Cao Dong Chan's figurative aphorism to just sit, by sitting nice and tall with each inhalation and physically relaxing with each exhalation. So what we're going to do is going to inhale. As we inhale, we're going to silently and mentally recite the word in italics, tall, the adjective tall. And as we exhale, we're going to silently and mentally recite the verb written in bold font, ease. There is a myth that we are to concentrate, but we are not to concentrate. Concentration and mindfulness are antithetical. So to illustrate my point, what I'd like to do is show you a bit from a diagram. When we read the 81 poems of the Tao Te Ching, we can see that there are yang attributes and yin attributes. The yang attributes, the one who practices yang tends to be rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, competitive, and consequently cruel. Whereas one who practices the path of yin tends to be flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, cooperative, and consequently kind. Concentration. Now, the path of yang will take us many places, but peace, fulfillment, and enlightenment are not one of them. Okay, concentration is an act of rigidity. It's an act of being controlling. I choose to notice this and not notice that. Yin is the opposite. Concentration is rigid. What's flexible? Mindfulness. In mindfulness, we notice something vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. And yet, for some reason, it is one of the stones that pave the path of enlightenment. Let's go back to the practice text. During our inhalation, the silent and mental recitation of the adjective tall may be in the foreground, but sometimes it'll be in the background. There's all kinds of things we could notice. We could notice sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. We could also notice more complex things like emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. These are neither good nor bad, they simply are. Back in the 90s, computers came with a function to defragment or defrag the hard drive. We don't have that anymore because we have glass drives and stuff like that. Way back then we did. Meditation is a lot like the defragging program of our 1990s computers. And so when things come up, we let them come up. And as we exhale, we are also wired. So during our inhalations, we are wired to notice, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system. During our exhalations, we are wired to physically relax and mentally release due to our parasympathetic nervous systems. And contrary to pop psychology, they are latent within each breathing cycle. They're always there, at least in potentiality. When you are startled, what do? We take a sharp breath, and we adjust our field of vision into a peripheral vision. When notice the next time you watch someone jump, or you notice your next time it gets startled, you move into a peripheral state where you can access a different nervous system from your foveal vision. This is an ancient survival mechanism. It does not make us cowards. Our ancestors who did not have this impulse did not live long enough to pass on their genetic material. This is our genetic inheritance. Fortunately, it can serve us remarkably well on the spiritual path. So we work with our tendency to go into a hyper vulnerable perceptive state during each in-breath, and to then physically relax and mentally release during each in-breath. We'll explore this deeper in future exercises in several moments from now. But now, so as I'm meditating with you, I'm having a flashback to a really grotesque assault I received way back in college. Oh gosh, more than 4 decades, about 4 decades ago. And it just came back as vivid as you like. So my job is not to analyze it. My job is not to shove it. My job is not to chase it. My job is to sit here like a pillar on a pier, a piling on a pier. Sometimes the tide comes in, sometimes the tide goes out. I allow myself to vulnerably notice whatever I notice as I breathe in. I allow the natural mechanisms in my mind and body to release and relax as I breathe out. And for some delightful reason, that can help us to process even the most grotesque of memories. In the world of meditation, the people who think they're supposed to concentrate tend to be really rigid and cruel and insensitive. And the people who know that they're supposed to be mindful, and they don't confuse mindfulness with concentration. They know they're supposed to be vulnerable, passive, visceral, and random, are much more easygoing. They're much more kind. They're much more wise. In the past, when I would have a painful, grotesque memory, I would go nuts trying to figure out what I could have done different to prevent that from happening, or to create a different outcome. And that would put me in a highly unresourceful state, sometimes triggering a full PTSD reaction, because I was no longer watching it. I was reliving it, trying to elbow deep, trying to fix it. I'm grateful I received the teachings that that's not my job. That when I have memory, my job is not to fix it, not to justify it, minimalize it, fatalize it, analyze it, or revise it. My job is to watch it vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly as I breathe in, and to give my body permission to physically relax and my mind permission to release as it breathes out. It's going to do it anyway. All I got to do is not get in the way of these natural processes of our autonomic nervous system. If you have difficulty doing this, do ask, type your questions, your specific questions, in the chat window, and I'll do my best to answer them in a helpful manner. But my ability to help you is directly proportional to the specificity of the question you ask. Physical relaxation in harmony with our exhalation is the key that opens the door to mental release. Now, mental release doesn't mean our memories go away or our emotions go away. It means we make peace with them. We no longer live in the exhausting effort to resist them. It's like the Klingon fable of the man who tried to fight the storm. He did not prevail. Welcome to the live stream. The moment you have a question about Buddhist or Taoist, meditation or philosophy, type them in the chat window on your right. Be as specific as possible. As we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite the adjective in italics. As we exhale, as we exhale, we silently and mentally recite the verb in bold. Remember Aesop's fable of the reed and the oak. The oak is dignified in its rigidity, but it is the reed that experiences sustainability in its flexibility. Better to be flexible than rigid. We come to our second meditative exercise. As we inhale with our lower abdomen in front of our dantian or lower cauldron. And we exhale again. And as we exhale, our lower abdomen relaxes. As we inhale, we silently and mentally recite the italicized noun, Dan. As we exhale, we silently and mentally recite the bold verb, ease. Do not force your breathing. By simply playing with these words while breathing naturally, our body and our energy make the necessary adaptations effortlessly and spontaneously. We come to our third contemplative exercise. During each inhalation, let's subtly grin with the apples of our cheeks, with the corners of our mouth, the apples of our cheeks, and the crow's feet of our eyes. During our inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite the italicized verb, grin. And during our exhalation, let us silently and mentally recite the bold verb, ease. So the trick is not to actively grin, but to passively grin, to simply coordinate the mental recitation with the respiration and let the central nervous system do the heavy lifting. This grinning might seem silly, but remember that the third enlightenment factor is joy. Breathing in, let's notice the front descending channel's terminus at the perineum or taint. Breathing out, let's notice the rear ascending channel's terminus at the place where the tip of the tongue could touch the hard palate or simply the roof of the mouth. As we inhale, let us silently and mentally recite the italicized noun taint. And as we exhale, let us silently and mentally recite the bold noun roof. When you feel comfortable, you can replace the noun taint with its Chinese counterpart, ren. And you can replace the noun roof with its Chinese counterpart, du. These, of course, refer to parts in the body, not the actual English words. Whoops, what's going on here? Come on now. Copy. And paste. for our fourth contemplative exercise, we're going to move from the small tour to the large tour, which is going to not just include our head and torso, but also include our hands and feet, legs and arms. So, instead of being a 2-point exercise, this is a 4-point exercise. We inhale the italicized syllable do. We exhale the bold noun feet. We inhale the italicized syllable ren. We exhale the bold noun hands. Let's demystify the Mahayana's Prajnaparamita, or perfection of wisdom, also known as the union of mindfulness and meditation. As we inhale, let's mindfully notice the play of mind. As silently and mentally we recite the italicized preposition this. As we exhale, let's meditatively relax into mind's non-graspable nature as we silently and mentally recite the bold verb, ease. Let's further demystify the Mahayana's Prajnaparamita, or perfection of wisdom, as we relax during our exhalation. All that we noticed during our previous inhalation can now feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although is tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand. As we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite the italicized preposition this. As we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite the bold verb, the bold adjective void. Let's seal this morning's practice with wishing love, specifically the 4 immeasurables. May everyone be free from suffering, may everyone be happy, may no one be separated from the happiness, may everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, freed. If you feel that I have earned it, please type something in the chat window, give this live stream a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. In about 2.5 hours, I will return to lead today's mid-morning meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.